Well, welcome, Jason. Thanks
you,
for, Thanks for taking the time to come in and schmooze with me.
That's
I really
great.
appreciate it. This is cool. So, we were just chatting in the green room that you've recently moved back to La La Land.
Yes, the prodigal son returns.
Doesn't it always happen?
Yeah, well, I'm amazed that it did. I never thought I was going to get out of New York. So
Nobody does once it has its
yeah.
clenches on
Yeah.
you, but that's why they make airplanes.
Actually, I have a little green Toyota, and I stuffed everything I possibly could into it and drove across.
Did you
So,
now?
yeah, it's amazing how huge and yet containable the country is. That you can get in the car at one door in Upper Manhattan and somehow arrive here in 5 days.
What had you been doing work-wise while you were in New York as far as your acting and your writing? I know that I have read many pieces which I have loved.
Well, thank you.
No, and I wrote you on Facebook telling you that I was
you.
so
Appreciate that.
absorbed
Mhm.
by not only what you had to say, but the way in which you presented it. It could have become a very bitter story. It could have. It had all the makings,
Yeah.
but you didn't let it go there.
Right.
So maybe
Well, the thing is, you're just glad you have a story. I mean, the material of your childhood, whatever it is that happened, it actually gives you material, right? That we're always gathering material as actors
Isn't
and
that
singers,
true?
right?
Isn't that
So
true?
it's like, I got pretty good material. Why not find an interesting way to tell it, But I went to New York with a vague notion about really, going back to the theater. I'd been out here. I grew up here, and I'd been in New York as a toddler, by which I mean I was 19 and 20. In the
Toddling around?
very early 80s, studying
toddling.
acting and, learning the ropes and kind of doing what my father had done, But so in the early 90s, I went back and I'd been on a couple of soap operas out here, and I was a little bit lost with my identity as an actor, and thought I must be in the theater. And I went out there, and I promptly did not go into the theater.
No.
I fell into voiceovers. Which was my first regular kind of income in my life. And it surprised me because I always thought, advertising or commercials, while they're great, it was always just an ancillary, activity. And it just clicked. And I was doing it all the time. I was narrating commercials, and I was doing audiobooks, and I thought, well, maybe this is what I was meant to do. And while I was doing that, I thought, and I have always wanted to write, and I had a story in mind. I mean, actually my story. So I thought, why not let this work subsidize, that, and I'll stop, auditioning for 6-week contracts in Cleveland, doing the classics, for whatever it was, $500 a week. And try and write something that might, make a difference. And that journey didn't quite go as I expected it would. On paper it looked good, and then suddenly we had strikes in the industry, and commercials dried up, and so the couple of years of really good income, go south, and there you are. Struggling and writing a book, and sitting in Starbucks trying to write your way out of the problem.
Where did we go before Starbucks?
I don't know. I don't know, but maybe people didn't write before then. I mean,
That's possible.
I always found it hard to write in my apartment. There were always way too many distractions and too much comfort. It was just way too easy to lie down.
Clearly, having a family background of show business and your father being the fine actor that he was, did you ever want to do anything else? Have you ever had a yearning to be in any other industry?
Gosh, I don't know if I can answer that.
Well, have you ever
I
thought
just
about
know
it?
that radio and music and all of that stuff being, it's kind of a part of the same thing. I always wanted to be a DJ. And I was recording myself as early as 5 years old, like, on a little cassette recorder, pretending to, to run a radio show. And in fact, I have done.
I could take some notes if you want to send them my way, because I've lost control here.
And I've for years now done a mock radio show, which I occasionally will post, online now. I have a character called the Mr. Soft Talk. And he was sort of cobbled together from like various influences like William B. Williams and Jonathan Schwartz, of just the very erudite and kind of incredibly laid back, DJs who know all about the Great American Songbook. And so I probably could have loved doing that or film editing, which I also love to do. But it's... But I learned all that because of the world I was born into.
So what are you looking toward now that you're back in L.A.? Having said that, I mean, we do have a semblance far more than I've ever seen when I've lived here in the past and last incarnations. We have a theater scene happening here now.
Yeah, it's really true. And it's, I think, more diverse and possibly experimental than even in New York right now. But to answer your question, I am back to be the actor I was always meant to be. I let myself get, as we were talking before, I was writing and doing voiceovers and earning money however I could, but I kind of let myself kind of drift away a bit from that vocation. And it's just kind of the start of a new chapter, made me realize how much acting is left in me and how much I still love it. The nice part, too, about being this age is that you don't have nearly enough time to screw around doubting yourself and wondering if I'm good enough. Do I measure up to my idols? It's just like, this is what I got. All of that stuff, all those years that I was bumping into walls and stuff, that was all my experience, and now I'm here to like channel it, So
totally can
it's great to have that chance to like start another chapter. It's exciting.
Well, we're glad to have you here in LA. How can we follow you and know what's up? I know that you're on Facebook.
Yeah, I've been sort of using a Facebook page, sort of like a flexible website, just to keep posting my progress and
is
that come up.
Is that page called Jason Culp?
It's called Jason Culp Actor Narrator.
Now and there it is.
It's all one word, so you should be able to find
as only Facebook can make you, Joe. And I know also that you have a number of recordings up on SoundCloud.
Yeah. SoundCloud, Jason Samuel Culp. And you know what the Samuel stands for.
I do, and just because it's me, I have to tell you, the Samuel comes from Samuel Davis Jr.,
exactly,
who was Jason's godfather. And I guess there's something in the fact that I'm now Manny's godmother, Sammy's son. You see, we just all keep godding around.
Yeah,
and,
that's right.
Well, Jason, I want you to stay in touch with us. Let me know how things are going.
Sure.
You are an absolute delight to meet.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Jason Culp.